How is it going, everyone? It's Rob from Paragon. This week we're installing a Magnuson Supercharger on this car behind me. You're gonna come along with us the whole week process, behind the scenes, as we put the performance in Paragon Performance. So to start off this process, we are here in the dyno room with the car to run some baseline runs so we can get a feel for what power level it's putting down to the wheels at the start of this process. Graham is inside the car right now getting started to go, so let's take a look at these baseline runs. All right, Graham, what were the results of the baseline run on this car?
So this car is right at 433 to 439 at the wheels, which is exactly what these cars normally put down stock if they're healthy and running good fuel.
Awesome, thanks.
You bet.
So now that we have the baseline runs done on this car, we are ready to get it moved over into the shop and onto a lift so Alex can get started tearing this thing apart. All right, so we're underneath the car now. Korey is helping tear this thing apart while Alex works on some catch cans. So Korey, can you tell us what are we looking at here?
So we can tell it's a 23 or 24 because the ECU is not here, because in the 2023 models they started changing it to now it's behind the driver's side rear wheel, behind the bumper, for preparation of the E-Race. So we still have to take all of this off anyways because the expansion tank gets put up here for the Magnuson. So all this is just getting taken off in preparation for Alex. Next is going to be the fender liners and the bumper, so then we can take the ECU and ship it off to get unlocked.
Well, sweet. Well, I'll get out of your way and let you get that started.
Okay.
All right, so Korey, I see we have the ECU obviously out of the car in a box right now. You've got some paperwork. What is the next step? What's going on?
So just filling out the paperwork, year, make, model, VIN, and then the shipping label. We do a next day label to Trifecta, next day label back to us. So this going out on a Monday, we'll get it back by Thursday morning. Perfect rolled. This will be back on the dyno on Friday, so kind of a 1 week turnaround.
And so they are unlocking this ECU.
ECU is going to be unlocked. It's going to have a bench map tune on it, so the vehicle will be drivable when it comes back to us. So technically the client could take the vehicle. However, we're going to verify the post dyno numbers and then make adjustments if needed.
Okay, sweet. Well, let's get it out. So like you saw, Alex worked his magic, got the engine out of the car. Of course, I don't think it would have been possible without my moral support behind the camera, so. Sure. Yeah. Okay, so Alex, now that you've got the engine out, what is the next step?
Well, we've obviously got to take the intake manifold off so we can put the Magnuson Supercharger on it, as it does replace the intake manifold. Remove all these vacuum lines, electrical connectors, all that fun stuff, because a lot of that gets relocated. And then this customer also optioned to get the Corsa headers installed too, so I do need to take those off so we can prep to install those. Other than that, it's just taking nuts and bolts out and getting it prepped.
But first we have to unbox the Magnuson, right?
Yep. All right, and so that is everything? That is it. With a little bit of some movie magic, you guys will get to see it installed.
All jokes aside, see guys, I am actually helping. Right, Alex?
I suppose, once in a while.
All right, Alex, this thing is looking like a whole lot of almost done. I see we've got the valve covers back on, you've got some tubes hanging down and whatnot, and these headers are on. What's next?
For the most part, I just need to put spark plugs in this, and then this is pretty much ready to go back in the car. We've got some other stuff we've got to do on the car as far as the heat exchanger, the expansion tank, and then getting these hoses routed once we get this powertrain back in. So,
Well, movie magic or not, you have made this whole process look incredibly easy, so.
yeah, it's just nuts and bolts, so.
All right, Alex, from my view, it looks like the engine is just about back in the car. Can you walk us through the process of, what is getting this engine back in the car look like?
There's a little bit of an alignment process with it. You've got some holes you need to line up in the subframe and the body when going back together. Other than that, it's 4 bolts that literally hold the majority of this into the car. And I'm to the point of just torquing them down so I can get this lift table out of here.
All right, almost done, it sounds like. All right, now the real test. Either the motor's gonna fall with this table or the table will come by itself. Hit it, Alex.
All right, so we're just getting all the panels here buttoned up on the car. Just getting everything tidied up, ready to go for when the ECU shows back up so we can get this thing fired up for the first time.
Very cool.
I think you broke it. So Alex, now that you have the car running, what is the next steps in this process? How are you done, or what's next?
For the most part, I'm done with everything. As you can see, we're bleeding the air bubbles out of the coolant here, and then we'll need to double check the reservoir level as well for the supercharger. We'll basically run it through a complete heat cycle here, let the thermostat open, and make sure we've got all the air out of the system. And then from there, I'm done with it. It's ready for the dyno. So.
Fantastic. Well, good job. And so would you say this has been a pretty easy install?
Well, of course.
And now we're right back where we started here in our dyno cell. We've got the car strapped down. Obviously, it's all put back together. It's running, and Graham is ready to hop inside, hit those keys, and do his dyno wizard magic to get this car dialed in. And that's another cool thing. Here at Paragon Performance, when you send us your car to get some kind of modification like a supercharger done or something like that, Graham actually takes the time and will work to make an individual tune for your C8 Corvette based on fueling and modifications done to it to make sure that your car is running the best it possibly can and performs the best that it also can. So that's another kind of cool little deal. No Corvette's the same, so why would we throw a base map on it, send you out the door, and call it a day? So kind of a cool process that we're about to see Graham dialing in this customer's car. So without further ado, let's get Graham in here and let's see some dyno runs. All right, so we are now inside the car with Graham, who just finished running the car on the dyno, getting it all dialed in like we talked about. Graham, what are we doing in the car now?
Sure, so this is the important next step in the tuning process. If we just run the car on the dyno, that's great for numbers, that's great for calibrating the peak power. We can get some drivability done on the dyno, certainly, by loading it up and going through the gears, but really what we want to do is get the car out of the dyno after it's made its best power and take it on the street and make sure that the drivability is perfect, make sure the shifting is good, make sure all the real world conditions that the car is going to operate in look good. So we hook up with HP tuners so we can do all of our logging, and we're going to check things here at idle, we're going to do some driving, we're going to do some part throttle shifting, some manual shifting, and then give it a good run through the gears and just make sure everything looks good and feels good.
Okay, so just essentially ensuring that, you know, when we give this car back to the customer, it's ready to go in any type of driving
Absolutely,
condition.
yeah. If we just take it off the dyno and hand it back to them, it might do something that we couldn't see on the road, and then they'd have to bring the car back and deal with it, and that wouldn't be fun. So a thorough part of the process is properly road testing the car. We don't have to take it out for hours at a time. It's a very short, quick test near the shop in safe conditions, but we do want to test it.
Okay, well, sweet. Well, let's
all right,
get to road testing.
Sounds good. Yes. So the idea behind the tuning here is that we want the car to feel as if it's completely stock. We would want, you know, the average person that jumped in this car and knows nothing about C8 Corvettes to feel like this car is exactly the way it came from GM, just with a supercharger and more power. So that's one thing we're always looking for, is that drivability. When we're tuning the car, when we're working with different shops that tune these cars, the drivability needs to be pretty good. So takeoff, that means takeoff is smooth at different throttle positions, whether you're kind of rolling into it or giving it a bit more like I did there. Just making sure it feels smooth and good drivability. And this car feels great. We've done the Lingenfelter kits many times now. They do have fantastic drivability. If you watch our other video specifically about the Lingenfelter Supercharger, I discuss why that is. But yeah, this car is no exception. The drivability is great. The fuel trims look good. So that all is happy there. So we'll give her a little bit of give her some throttle input. I'm going to put it into track mode here, kind of get the RPMs up a little bit higher. We'll give her a little bit of part throttle, let it downshift and get into some boost. Feels very smooth.
Yeah.
Okay, so everything looks great cruising around. Drivability is fantastic. Part throttle feels really good. Fuel trims look great. Yeah. So now we're going to give her a full throttle test. We're going to do it in drive mode. Put it in track here. Just gotta let it shift through the gears. Feels good, really smooth. What do you think, Rob?
It moves pretty good.
It's not bad.
It's not
that's Z06.
good.
That's Z06 power for a lot
fraction
less.
of the cost. Yep.
Not bad if you got a Stingray already.
That is not bad.
No, it's solid.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it's a really good power band. It doesn't it's not unmanageable. It's not too much. It's pretty much what you'd want these cars to come with.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yep.
You know, sure, the Stingray is pretty good by itself, by all means. Not taking anything away from what GM accomplished with an NA engine, but in this day and age, everything has quite a bit more.
Yep.
You know, so I feel like the supercharger low boost here really kind of bridges that gap and gives you the extra pull you want when you're on it, but yet while we're driving around, it still feels like a stock car.
I was gonna say, from over here, the passenger seat, it feels very,
Yep.
you know, OEM-like.
Absolutely. So yeah, everything checks out with this car, so we're gonna get it back to the customer and let them start enjoying it.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for letting us ride along.
You bet.
And just like that, that is going to conclude this week-long process from start to finish of us installing a Magnuson Supercharger on this customer car. We're excited to get this car back to its owner, and he can enjoy it with quite a bit much more power added to it now. If you'd like to be like him next and get your car on the books for a supercharger, be sure to reach out, let us know, phone or email, and we'll get you taken care of. Hope you enjoyed this behind the scenes video. If you did, be sure to let me know by leaving a like down below, comment, and subscribe. As always, I'm Rob from Paragon, and I'll see you guys in the next video.